So we're having a really great discussion here on this topic of proximity alert, and we are going to conclude episode 1. We're going to pick up that second topic, which we've identified as too far, in the next episode, just so we do this in little bite-sized chunks for you. So hope you've enjoyed what we've had so far. Please now join us for episode 2, proximity alert, too far. So let's jump into number 2, which is the exact opposite of that. And I think we're thinking more about a work perspective. So proximity alert, too far. So Rob, what's that about?
Well, again, it's we've seen a shift now, haven't we? So that everyone, largely speaking, unless they're key workers or in key industries, are going to be now working at home, isolating. And so if you're in any sort of leadership or line management position, all of a sudden the people who you would have been working with face to face, you're now working with them remotely. Now, I know, more people are working more remotely more often these days. So perhaps for some, it's not quite as much of a shock as it might have been. But nonetheless, now that is consistently what people are having to do the whole time. So here we are, the three of us, working together. We're at a distance. We've got a level of relationship with each other. But of course, it does mean that the conversation is slightly different. And so really the question about the remoteness, so we're talking about proximity. So when proximity is now mediated through digital means, it brings up perhaps questions of, trust, effective communication, and a whole, raft of things that now perhaps don't operate in quite exactly the same way as they used to. So I think in bringing a bit of light on this topic is just to acknowledge that actually it's different when you're seeking to lead people and manage people at a distance. And so perhaps, we'd just have a little bit of a conversation around what that looks like, some of the challenges, and perhaps some of the things that we just need to consider a little bit differently, some adjustments perhaps that we can make in order to create an environment where we're actually being effective as leaders, even though the circumstances changed.
I think that technology at the moment is playing a significant role in connecting people, and especially in the light of like the proximity we lost face to face, and that presents its own challenges. Like, for example, is the internet in the house? Is it fast enough to handle the communication? And also, on a normal day, you try to communicate or even to do practical things, and again, technology might not be as effective to do the tasks that you need to do, and I think that this is something that we need to be very gracious and aware of, and one thing that I personally as well see is the need to be more vocal, because we lose. They say 80% of our communication is through our body actions, and also reading the eyes and all that, and I think that now we need to be more vocal, and especially vocal in affirmation as opposed to express frustration especially to those whom we're responsible for in our working place, but be very gracious. Checking on people before we go into business, before we go into, task mode, like just do a check, like, how's it going? Like, how are you coping with this? And
George, you've been in very relational work for quite a long time, and you're also kind of doing entrepreneurial things. Both of those have been really kind of engaging people, meeting one-on-one. So how's this working out for you now, isolation? Like, are you able to do that, or how's that going?
100%. It's a very good question, and I think that there is a tendency for people to kind of because of the all uncertainty, especially now talking about entrepreneurship, is to get discouraged and to feel like, if you want, beaten up by the situation, and have a lack of hope. And I'm finding with different projects I'm involved with, many people are actually getting a bit slower on communications. It feels that it's a burden. Like they don't want to, they just maybe want to do just the necessary now, not more. There is this kind of like energy that was out there when I was especially doing on new entrepreneurship, business ventures. There was like, energy because things are predictable. And now, because we're having to come to, literally, we're having to come on a white page and reimagine and re-envisage things, people in general are finding there is a lack of motivation, and there is a lack of energy. In other words, we are relatively, at the moment, we are at kind of like a state of war, in our nation, and it demands all of us, have the good fight and the good attitude, the positive attitude, and also lead people into that place where there is, we human beings, we are made to adapt, and we are made actually to survive. We are survivors. We are powerful. We have all what it needs. Now, there are loads of distractions out there that is trying to kind of maybe pull us down. But if we are aware of these distractions, if we're aware of these things and navigate through them, and also encourage people around us and take a leadership role in that, I think we will be able to pass through it. And actually, on the other side, I believe that there is prosperity, and that there is something that is really positive for us and for our community.
Yeah. I think you've hit a really important point there on this one, and that is that we have an opportunity to rethink how we're doing our work. It's not just an opportunity, actually, we're now forced to, right? So, and actually, if I think about, when I was working, particularly in a corporate environment, so much of that corporate environment is so much that people are always wanting to change or improve or say, this is broken, this is... Well, now we're in a season where actually we have to relook at so many of those processes, and we're going to have to do things differently. So we can, to use our company name, we can re-envisage the workplace right now. We get to rethink and remap processes. And you're right, I think there's a real kind of almost like a spirit out there of people wanting to retreat and hide and be fearful. But this is an opportunity and a time for us to engage and to be brave.
Yeah, and when you come along, and I really believe that this is the season of coming alongside of people, and because now you see a lot of people are trying to figure out how they want to do life now, and sometimes that can be daunting, that can be intimidating, and that's what I love about Re-envisage. Is that it is there to walk alongside. It's there. We're here to help process, help people think and rethink, and reimagine to do business.
Yeah. Well, this very radio program that we're doing now is a response to that, right? Because like our business model is a face-to-face consultancy. We go and work with teams, and we go and speak at events and these sorts of things. Now, we never did anything like this before. So we've had to like turn the company on its head, and we're doing something completely different because of, we're responding to the need. So I'm super excited about this. And I think, wow, we're learning a whole new way of connecting and relating to people. And offering our heart, which is for transformation. So on this point, the too far and the trust issue, I think a simple little tool here is, if you're managing a team of people or engaging with people on a daily basis, just remember to take the time to ask how they're doing. How is their environment? And are they able to do what you need them to do in their current circumstances and in that environment? Is that still realistic? Is it still the right thing to do? Or do we need to rethink, just like we've created this radio program because we're like, well, we're not going to be able to go and deliver face-to-face programs. Let's do it. Let's go online. You know, so I think, you know, is the environment working for you at home? Are you able to do what you need to do? And if not, you know, what can we do differently? How might this look in the new world? Okay, I think we just need to close out really quickly on the third one, which is too many unknowns, and that's kind of a time piece. Rob, why don't you have a quick chat to us about that, and then we'll
sure. I'll just say one thing on that last point. There is a simple thing is make it about the other, if as shorthand. You know, we're all in a situation now where we're thinking about you know, have we got enough food? Have we got enough toilet rolls? Etc. etc. It's a bit, you know, typically we think about ourselves and our families and what have you first, which is fair enough.
Yeah.
But just in this consideration about how do we engage with people at a distance or at a digital distance, I think the simple thing is put the other person first.
Yeah.
So that isn't to say you don't have any needs, but in putting that other person first, as Andrew said, ask them how they're getting on, ask them is their situation working for them. Literally invest time in asking the question and spending time to stop and listen. So we've been doing this, and I, for one, have found it incredibly powerful that before we get on to the transactional stuff of what we're online to talk about, this is when we're having our own internal meetings. We give each other 5, 10, could be 15 minutes just to ask the question, how's it going? And then listen and find out what the genuine challenges are. And I think there's a great power just in that thing of putting the other person first, sort of above our own needs, as it were. And of course, what you see as a result of that is a massive increase in trust. There's a massive increase in loyalty. Two things which, you know, if you've ever come across that book, that business operates at the speed of trust. These are key things that, you know, when you're not running across each other in the normal everyday work environment, absolutely key that there's a trust that exists between you and the people that you're working alongside. So put people first. Yeah, put the other first.
Yeah,